Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest
down to the queens.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, everybody inside and outside of the gender spectrum, and welcome back to Stardom Quest, the best weekly Stardom podcast anywhere in the world. I'm, as always, Alex, and I'm joined by Dylan. Hi, Dylan.
Hi, Alex. I just, life. I had some Christmas cookies beforehand. That's my cookie reference of the week. And yeah, I thought I had some joke, but I don't actually, unfortunately, for all of y'all. I'm just here. We're recording late again this week. I think Alex is probably the more high energy one this time around, though, because I am
I have
pretty
a Red
tired.
Bull.
Yeah,
I got Red Bull.
I
got
had to
that
watch
artificial.
I had to watch my niece this morning, and she was not being cooperative about anything. So I'm a bit tired.
You got a cookie, though. The
Yeah,
cookie,
I
like,
did. I
power
did
you
have
up.
a cookie. Yeah.
Okay, all right. We don't need jokes anymore. We just have to say that the yen is down. And proceed with our days.
I hate that joke so much because it's like it's funny because Velke is just like he loves it, and every time I am in any type of conversation with Velke over the past week, somebody, usually him, brings up hashtag the yen is down, and I'm just like, man, okay.
I see. And what does he love more? Tam Nakano or that joke?
The joke, definitely,
I don't know
because
about that. He's a big Tam roader. I hear.
yeah, he's been walking that road for a long time.
Long
Um,
time.
even bad knee and all, allegedly. Um, yeah, I don't know. Velke is a strange individual, but the yen is down. As I said last week, it's such a dumb discourse that I really hope people
You
understand that
know
it's a
what's even
joke.
worse? You know what's even worse? Bushi Road quarterly report discourse that we got today.
Oh,
Um,
I don't know if anybody's noticed. Every wrestling company that's not named WWE has done poorly this year, like financially.
well, I would also say that maybe the wrestling that represents like 15% of a major
Yeah.
corporation probably isn't the to blame for anything. So it's a lot because yeah, we got Cyber Fight quarterlies, but there was no big hullabaloo this year because nobody pointed out that they lost money.
Well, they didn't
Um,
lose it. I think the thing was that they're hemorrhaging money far less than last year, so that was a W.
yes,
Which is similar with AEW, who just reported that they are also losing like 3 million this year, and they were
mhm.
losing like a lot more last year. So that's a plus.
You gotta take the W's where they come. So yeah, Bushi Road. You know what? Your quarterlies were down, but you stopped the rot. So good on you.
Hopefully,
Yeah. This is brought to you by the 5 Star Network. Head on over to the 5starnetwork.co and also the 5 Star Network YouTube channel. There's lots of different content going up nowadays. There's like 3 different shows regularly. There was, I don't know if Actress Stage has gone up. I think it was
yeah,
recorded.
it went up last week. I think
Okay,
I
so
could
there's
have
an
swore it
Actress
went up at some
Stage.
point.
There is Constantly Dramatic Dream Dragons. Puro Gems is there. Wrestle Update is there. And we have the No Limit Wrestling Show. And you have a new episode that went up
Yes,
yesterday, today. I don't know.
it
I
went
didn't pay
up
attention.
yesterday. We did the poll the day before so that nobody could cheat, even though everybody knew exactly what rosters we drafted.
Yeah, yeah. You guys were not. You were not sly about it at all.
I wonder who picked Yoshihiro Takayama, and I wonder who picked all of the Dragon Gate guys.
Let's be fair. Who else was drafting Bob Sapp?
Oh no, we bullied him into that. That's why everybody needs to listen to the show because it
Right.
was a very fun time. A little bit of a spoiler: Xavier was drafting all junior heavyweights, and then we got to like the 16th round after like adding rounds every couple rounds because we just wanted to do more. We got to like the 16th round, and we were like, we were talking about a couple people on the board, and he was like, "Bob Sapp's around," and I was like, "Oh man, you gotta get Bob Sapp with all these juniors, all all these like 160-pound motherfuckers, and Bob Sapp. That's the greatest thing ever." And it was. So we bullied him into picking Bob Sapp. But since I haven't actually like said what it was, me, Xavi, and Scott all did a draft for the 2000s for male wrestlers. We were originally going to do 10 or 12, and then we moved it up to 17 because we realized that the 2000s were kind of fucking stacked.
Mhm.
Half of the four pit, like Kawada wasn't even drafted, and Akiyama wasn't drafted, and they definitely should have been drafted. Or maybe one of them got Akiyama, I don't remember. But it was a great time. I suggest you guys go check it out on YouTube, because it's more me, and everybody needs some more me in their life. Unless you're one of those people who have listened to like 10,000 hours or minutes or whatever, uh, maybe you should cut a little bit of me out of your life. But
Insulting. You need to stop
um,
insulting your loyal.
I'm not insulting y'all. I respect y'all and I appreciate y'all, but um, I don't know. I'm even more unhinged on No Limit, so I think maybe some people would get sick of me if they also listen to No Limit. But still listen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you, Scott, and Xavi is just like chaos in a
Oh
bottle.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
like I can't even picture the kind of shit that went on there. Um,
Some
and the
nights we'll
only
be talking in like a group chat and I'll just be like, "Oh my god, we are the most psychotic human beings." Like after a while. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, I get brief flavors of all three of you, and it's enough for me to be
Yeah.
honest. Like I talk to Scott once a day, and I'm always like, why do we do this? Like,
That's so mean.
just from like both perspectives, because the amount of times where he's like, "What did you just say?" and I'm like, "I don't." Just pretend that didn't happen. Um, so yeah,
Oh man.
yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah,
fun.
that's actually another funny thing is that the reason why we did a draft instead of the usual No Limit show, which is us retro reviewing a show that the guest brings on, is because and like I said, me, Xavier, and Scott have a group chat. It's very active. We talk very often. And we ask Scott every day for like a month, "Hey, have you thought about what show you want to do when we get to No Limit?" It's just like, eh. And we're just like,
That's Scott.
any
That is
show.
Scott.
Any show ever, Scott, literally. And he's like, out over like SummerSlam '05, and we're just like, okay, no, we are not doing that.
What's wrong with SummerSlam? SummerSlam's cool.
No, it was a lot more drawn out because we were like, oh yeah, maybe that'll work. And then we like looked at the card and it was very bad.
Let me
Um,
look at the card. Let me look at it right now. I will
I
judge
think
you
we saw,
all very harshly on
I think we
this.
saw a Eugene match and we were like, oh, I don't want to review that.
Chris
That's gonna
Benoit
make me
defeats
throw up.
Orlando Jordan in 26 seconds. Okay.
Don't you love it when a match has two problematic people in it? That's so fun.
Um. Oh God, Randy Orton versus The Undertaker. John Cena versus Chris Jericho. Batista versus JBL. Okay, I can see why you would skip this. That
I think the only reason we wanted to was because was that Eddie
custody of
Ray?
Dominic.
Yeah,
Yes,
it was
custody of
Eddie versus
Dominic.
Ray. That was it.
Also Hogan and Michaels.
Yeah, those
The
two. Those
the
two we were
fun
like,
one.
"Oh, that'd be fun." And then we looked at it, it was like, "Oh, no."
Yeah. Was there not a women's match on this? That's crazy. They just used to
Uh,
straight up just never put women on the shows. That's wild.
Lita and Christy Hemme were valets, so that's good enough for 2005 WWE.
Christy Hemme paired up with Eugene. That yeah. Okay. That's all right. Well, onto the world of Stardom.
Yeah.
We had a newsworthy week to some degree. We had the card announced for the Sumo Hall show, and now we have an idea of who's back, what's going on, all the good stuff. So the card is as follows: Mai Sakurai, Tekla, lady versus. Oh yeah, okay, sorry, I
I
Mai
was like, "Where are you
Sakurai
going with this?"
and Tekla versus Lady
Mhm.
C and Hina versus the returning Saki Kashima and Ami Sourei versus the returning Saki and Yuna Mizumori. So pulling in the reserves here to fill out the card just a bit. We have a 6-on-1 tag match. Nanai Takahashi, Yu, and Azumi versus Siri, Mina Shirakawa, and Mei Sarah.
That's a chef's kiss right there.
What a weird and
That's
wonderful match.
two things. One, this match shouldn't be happening. Because everybody on the right side of it, the mix up side, should be doing something else, like anything else. But Azumi and Seven Up, like, have you ever heard of a trio more Dylan coded than Azumi and Seven Up?
Have you pondered that Siri might be out for revenge for Mirai? Because that would be so funny.
I get like I
Imagine her just like beating the crap out of you and you trying to like throw Haas, shoot punches. I think that would go
That would
crazy.
be sick. I mean, like, no, 'cause Shuri opposite all three of those is insane. Like, that's a great match. Um, I don't know why Mina's there, and May Sarah should be defending the high speed belt, especially considering
Yeah.
they're kind of already teasing her going to 10 defenses so that the Azumi match can happen. Um, and there's not 10 people. And if there are, you need to find them and have her defend the belt against them immediately. Uh, but yeah, and also no Shuri UWF match, which I thought was kind of a lock, but it wasn't, I guess.
She spent like 2 months wrestling UWF matches and going, I want to fight the strongest wrestlers in the world, and then that turned out to be Alice Inc. I guess like
Which,
that was the
hey, she's
pinnacle.
dope, but like, there's more to it, right? Like,
I have no idea.
I think that's the
I
story
don't know.
of this show that we are
Hmm.
early previewing is
Hmm.
like there's more to it, right? Like, there's gotta be.
This is like when New Japan would do, when they would do like the Destruction Tour,
Yes.
and they would have like two big matches on three different shows, and they
Mhm.
would sell them all anyway. This
Which
is kind of
when
what.
you're New Japan, that's perfect. Like, that's a great
Yes.
formula.
Yeah. Because clearly they held a lot back for Tokyo Dome City Hall on the
Mm.
4th. So this is
And whatever
almost
they do in the
like,
third as well.
yeah, so this is Sumo Hall slash Road to TDC Hall, like as is evidenced by the next match.
Mm.
So yeah, there's some weird stuff here where you're like, you should probably do something cool. Maybe you're gonna do something cool on January 4th or January 3rd, and that's why you're doing this on Sumo Hall. But it definitely makes the Sumo Hall show feel a little bit like less definitive and big. But that's fine. The next match, as I said, is a Mayu Iwatani return match. She teams with Hazuki, Hanan, and Saida, and they take on Starlight Kid, Ruaka, Rina, and Fukigen Death. Um,
It's also
now,
interesting because like it's not like New Blood has much on it either the day before.
no,
Um,
definitely not.
they like the fact that like Hanan and Mei Sarah isn't a match that they made is confusing to me. Right? Like just run the
There's people
Remax.
not
That's
on
an
this show
interesting
though. I
match.
feel like there's more
Yeah.
happening. There's just people
Yeah.
not announced for shit. But anyway, so they basically said without saying that Kid and Mayu were the 1-4 match because they were the only two people there, and Kid, before Mayu even returned, was like, I wanna scrap with Mayu. She ducked me in the GP. Let's go.
Which is
I wanna
hilarious because
fight.
that was Kid getting injured.
So they basically said Kid versus Mayu is gonna happen on 1-4. This is basically a prelude tag.
You know what would be really
Um,
funny if Kid said if she was like Mayu setting an eye to injure me as a paid hit so that she didn't have to wrestle. Like that is like peak heel dumbass like conspiracy thought processes. And I love that. I think that that's my headcanon is that uh Kid thinks that Mayu set Nanai to injure her at the Dream Tag thing. Oh wait,
that's fair.
the Dream Tag was against Mayu, so Mayu could have just done that.
You could have,
Never
yeah.
mind.
You're
Let's just move
you're a
on.
bit
Let's
off.
just move
Okay,
on.
we have a New Japan Strong Women's Championship match. Julia takes on Megan Bain. Bain did not wear the headdress for once. She has normal clothes. Who
Ooh.
knew? She dropped the
Micah
bar
bought
though.
bought them from them.
Julia was like, "I'm gonna kill you," and she was like, "Julia, you're already dead. That is a bar. I'm
Well,
sorry. nobody is allowed to criticize Megan Bain. That is a
you
bar.
you do know that that's just Omaewa mo Shinderu, right? Like
That
that's her
doesn't even matter.
catchphrase.
Don't even
It's her ca-
care. It
it's her
was.
catchphrase. She has said it in
I
English.
don't even care.
Like I
It's
agree, it
a
was
bar.
sick. It was
Okay.
sick, and then the translator went like said it, and everybody was like, "Oh, this motherfucker said her catchphrase."
She's a beast. She's a beast, dude. AW is they should be thanking Stardom. Quite frankly, they should be on their knees, thanking
Nah,
Stardom.
but Julian
Uh,
got it.
yeah, yeah.
What could she do for anybody? That's my question.
Yeah, imagine just imagine looking at, imagine having a photo of Dolph Ziggler and Julia and going, you know what we need, Dolph Ziggler. I
I've said
just
before, uh, Tony Khan just doesn't like wrestlers from east of the Iron Curtain. Like it's just Italians.
doesn't like
Ugh,
women's wrestlers. I don't know.
that too.
I don't know, man.
Well, he doesn't like women's wrestlers from east of the.
When you consider that he got CMLL to agree to work with
Yeah,
him for Stardom, I'm just like, is it not obvious at this stage? Like this man can move heaven and earth if he wants to.
he did
He
the
just
perhaps the
doesn't.
hardest thing in wrestling politics and made CMLL and AAA not be like at each other's necks at all times to the point where
Mm,
like you know the world will end if their wrestlers are pictured together. He got over that, but this women's promotion that isn't it's just not possible.
crazy world we live in.
Yeah.
The other matches then we already knew. It's Pradit defending against Natsuko Tora and Momoana. I just don't know how to say it. It
Just
sounds
call it
unnatural.
Aphrodite.
Okay, fine. Aphrodite defending against XL, Mirai defending against Ano, and Suzu and Maika fighting for the vacant title. They scrapped. Maika and Suzu scrapped.
Yes.
Rossy got hit with a shoe because Maika has bad aim.
And it
Maika
like
then
actually hurt
threw.
his arm. Like he was I got bruised. I had to like leave. I am
um,
old, guys.
Maika then threw Suzu through the table and threw
Mm,
her out, and they weren't there for the photo op to end it. Here's an
no.
interesting thing that people probably didn't know. On the little press conference recap, they said the remaining matches will be announced as soon as they're decided. This isn't the
Mm.
final card. And obviously, we kind of knew that because half of the rookies are not on this show. And
But also
imagine they're going
like
to add a rumble.
they did put a lot of people on this card for it not to be the full card.
They did. I
In
think it'll
that like
just be a
all of
rumble.
stars is there. You get what I mean.
I mean, it's just going to be
Yeah,
like Yuzuki, Evan, um, maybe the new girls who are debuting on New Blood.
probably
I
the
don't
twin.
know.
Well, definitely the twins. It's
Definitely the
Ryuko.
twins. Yeah. So, well, Hina's already in a match. Arena is also in a match. So yeah, they're
Wait,
on it
they're in Met.
already.
Oh,
Yeah. So they're gonna
oh,
add
the that
stuff.
yeah.
What jumps out to me is there's no Alice Inc. So I don't know if she's on home at this stage.
Perhaps.
'Cause they
Uh,
did announce the
they did New Blood or Year End Climax. They announced that show.
they did.
And of course, it is
She's
not
not
on
on
the
that.
schedule yet.
I'm on the news part. Yeah,
Okay.
she doesn't appear to be on
Looks like she
the.
dipped
Yes,
already.
so Alice Inc. is heading home, which is fair. I mean, it's Christmas. People are gonna want to go home to their
Yeah.
families. Maybe she'll be back. But yeah, that's Megan or Alice
That was
Inc.
only a
probably
month,
gone.
though. That's interesting.
Yeah, maybe she'll be back. I don't know. Maybe it's harder to get visas from Scandinavia. Oh, she
You know,
is the Scandinavian
yeah, I was
hurricane,
gonna
man.
say, I hear there's a hurricane over there. One thing that I do want to note that kind of gave me pause in this press conference is something that Utami said.
Oh,
She said after this match, she doesn't want to deal with the Oedo anymore. She wants to sever the ties. She wants to end the rivalry. That never happens in Stardom.
no.
Like no rivalry ever ends. So I'm concerned because that's an indication that Utami thinks it needs to end, and therefore, like the story is approaching its quote unquote end unless something changes. and I don't want nothing to change right now. Like I'm cool with where Queen's Quest is. Um, so yeah, that gave me a little bit of anxiety. I am a paranoid human being, so maybe it's nothing, but I did peep that it's like Utami saying nobody ends the story. I know it's kind of a joke that wrestling fans have made all year, but like nobody ends any stories in wrestling unless somebody is retiring. Um, so that gives me a bit of like, oh, I wonder if something bad's gonna happen. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. Now we had some announcements for the New Blood 12 show on Christmas Day in the Shinagawa Intercity Hall. The opening match is badly translated. It's May Sarah
Hmm.
and Hina against Rocca and
Yes,
Rina. Okay.
yes.
It just says Keenan Group, and I do not know who Keenan is. Um, so I just assumed it was Hina and Rina. We also have Haruka Umasaki, not Karma, but
Hmm.
Haruka Umasaki and Miyu Amasaki versus Hanako and Yuzuki. So some new pairings there. Karma seems to be dead, or in a mummified chamber or
Basis.
some shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Then we got into the interesting part. We have two
Is
debuts.
Umasaki still the Diana champion?
Yes, she is. She
Mm.
is defending against like 50-year-old Miran or something.
Oh, it's the
s-
wrong one. You just said the wrong. Wait, 50-year-old Moran? Are there two
uh,
people named the same thing?
Maybe it's Saran.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah, it
know,
is. It
man.
is. You're
I
right.
don't know. Or
Moran's the
Himiko.
kid.
Sorry, it's Himiko. Himiko.
Oh, Himiko's like good. Himiko's not
Yeah,
bad.
but she's like 50.
She is 50.
Um, so yeah, because Umasaki can't like face and beat the actual stars. You're not allowed to beat Kyoko
It's
or
also very
anything.
funny that like the actual stars are like Kyoko and not like I don't know any other like
Jaguar,
active
maybe
wrestler.
Jaguar Yokota or something.
I was
Fresh,
kind of alluding to
youthful.
like yeah, I was gonna say the young scrappy Jaguar Yakota.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I brought up Deanna. I don't want to
I don't
think
know,
about Deanna.
honestly. So we have two rookie debuts. The first of which is Siri taking on. They did not translate this properly at all. It's Yagami
Mm,
Rana Yagami.
Rana, yeah, Rana Yagami.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check. I'm gonna have to get up the We Are Stardom because
Yeah,
they
that's
didn't.
what I'm doing right now because I was like, you need some help.
I do. Once I know the names, the weird translations don't throw me off. But
Yeah,
obviously, I do
it's
not know the
it's
names.
it's Rana Yagami.
Okay, so the interesting thing about her is, number one, she was stanced up. I
Hmm.
believe in Rana. I
Man, the
like
bleach
I
blonde. That's
I got
like,
Yoshiko vibes, such Yoshiko vibes. She has this like feral look behind her eyes. Like she's gonna beat somebody up. Okay, not in the Yoshiko way, like in like the wrestling way. She's gonna beat a
well,
bitch
maybe
at
the
some
Yoshiko
point.
way. We don't know her personally. You never know.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, there's just this little feral nature to
In
her that
the
I'm like, you are the one.
I think what you're looking for is in the mini Yoshiko way, which is of course Suzuki. Uh, but yeah, no, she like her vibe is dangerous. Like that's the vibe I get. I hope she's good. Obviously, I hope all the trainees are good. This is the as I said, the bleach blonde trainee. So I think we have two rookies left to debut.
Yeah, pink hair
Pink hair
and
and Komomo.
Komomo Minami. Yes,
Yeah,
who I don't know. I haven't seen much about Komomo Minami. I know Aya
she's been
Sakura is out here
around,
jumping off
but
shit.
yeah,
That's the
Aya
last I
Sakura's
saw.
just like around. Like Aya
Yeah.
Sakura was like in her gear the other day for a photo shoot, and I was like, oh, you're
Mm,
still like in it,
interesting. Yeah. We're gonna be like flooded with rookies next year if these people
which is
stay
great.
healthy. Um,
Because right now we've noticed how bad it is without any healthy undercarders.
definitely. So this interesting thing with Yagami is she's a drummer in like an idol group, and she also did Makai,
That's
which
sick.
for people who don't know, Hikaru Shida founded Makai. It's like a
Mhm.
theater, music, wrestling hybrid. It is some like acid trip stuff. Like if you
Like,
can
remember that thing
see,
that Act Ring was doing? Imagine that, but like a million times more.
yeah, like imagine that, but with like
You know,
metal playing in the background, and they're
yeah,
like swinging big weapons at each other in a pro
lot,
wrestling manner.
very experimental.
Yeah. So I have seen a bit of Rana as a quote unquote wrestler. Um, she did some kicks. She looked somewhat coordinated, so maybe she's going to be good right from the off. But yeah, like Makai isn't, like if you're expecting Hanako levels, you're not getting Hanako levels because Makai is very like stunt choreography
Hmm.
more than pro wrestling. So
But Shuri
yeah,
did do a lot of Makai shows, and that's
she
why
did. That's probably why
Rana wants
she's her
to.
debut. Yeah, like
Yeah,
because Siri
I
and
mean,
Shida obviously teamed together for a long time, so there's got to
yeah,
be
and
a
Makai's
relationship
ending.
there. Yes, it
Um,
is. Yeah.
it's ending, and she said she wanted to follow Shuri to wherever Shuri was, and
Ooh,
Shuri is here.
interesting.
Which is good when you think about like, oh, either follow Shuri or follow Hikaru Shida. I was going to do my AEW is bad bit here, but we already did it, so I'm just going to skip over it. But um, yeah, so she's a big Shuri fan. Who
Yeah.
isn't? But
Interesting to note, she's kind of popular too, this Rana girl. She has 3,000 followers on Twitter already.
oh,
Her like Twitter is up from her drummer stuff. Like you can just search Rana and she's there. I don't know if she's gonna do her idol band on the side of pro wrestling or not. I don't really know. But she's an interesting one. She's a very interesting personality. Some people have said owie vibes, and I kind of get it.
I can
It
see it.
is definitely kind of owie, but I definitely see a lot more mini Yoshiko, and I hope she, puts up a good fight against Siri. The other debut is Kurika Sayaka versus Sayaka Matani.
That's gonna be
So,
a rough name to get used to saying.
dude, imagine if Unagi ever comes back. She'd be like,
Oh,
"Hey,
it's not Karaka, it's Karara, which is harder to
oh,
say.
Carrara. Oh, yeah, yeah. So
Karara.
Carrara, dude.
Oh, and you can't just call her Sayaka because again, Unagi.
I was thinking, just call her Kuriko as a nod to the anime and never, never, ever explain it.
That, but that's
If
not
you're
even.
game, I'm game.
But that's not.
I would rather Kuriko than Kurika. I won't lie to you. Like it's just, it's gonna be a lot easier to say. You know what? It's fine. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out in time. Somebody
Yeah.
will come up with a nickname for her eventually.
Yeah.
Um, so she's quite small. And people who tend to be more TJPW leaning are saying she's very standard for an idol push. Now I don't know what that means, but they said she has the look of somebody who's gonna
she
get a push.
she does have the look. Which
Does she?
is
I don't, see. This is beyond me. This
so
part is beyond me.
like it's very much, and this is a bit it's a bit strange because there are different looks obviously, but she's a very like conventionally attractive, like just girl. Like she just looks very like prototypical for what a idol put like what an idol would be in a pro wrestling setting. So I
Right.
get where they're coming from. Um I can see it, but it also just depends on like her ring presence. Because we kind of thought the
That's
same thing about
fair.
Aya Sakura, uh, and it wasn't materializing. In her first 10 matches or whatever. Like the vibe she gave off in her like first, appearance and like talking on the mic and whatnot, did not translate into her vibe as a wrestler. So I think that's what this kind of depends on. But yeah, she definitely has that uh, conventionally attractive and just overall look to her, I guess.
Okay, that's fair. I imagine her being small is quite like underdog vibes because I remember reading that that was one of the reasons.
How
Like,
big is she? Like, is she like small, small? I didn't
and
I
she
didn't
made
really
she
notice.
made Saya look like a normally sized
I'll
human. So
I don't know if you know this. Saya's nickname is Tall Saya, so that
that's
doesn't.
true. That's true. She appears very small. That's the thing. She like gives this aura of tiny, but maybe she's not. Maybe that's just next to Saya.
See, that's
We'll
so
have
funny
to
that
see.
you could determine the aura of a small person, um, in no relation to their actual height, but
Fairness,
let's
if
let's
you
go
saw
on.
the picture on the website, it does make her look like tiny. Um,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
yeah, it does make her look
she
pretty
looks
small.
like no taller than Command Ball Shoy or something. It's very
But
funny.
no, I mean, Kamatani's like 5'6", 5'7", so she's probably
It's
like
true.
5'2".
Maybe. You know what? We'll see eventually.
Like, okay, you see that? I know what picture you're looking at. Look at Ida. It's a little bit lower down. Just scroll.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I see Ida.
Yeah, like Ida is small.
That's true. That's true. I guess we'll have to wait and see for her to face Saida.
Yes.
Anyway, Kurara here feels very stars coded because she messed up a pinky promise, and I was like, that is peak stars. That is exactly what stars
I've
would
given
do.
up on trying to figure out where the rookies are going faction wise because
Nobody
I feel like
goes to them anymore.
yeah, that until Suzu and Mesera decide to like break the dam and like decide on where they're gonna be, um, I don't think any rookie is gonna get the first dibs in comparison to them. Um, so yeah, I mean, like I can't like Hanako can go anywhere at this rate, like you know what I mean. Um,
Mm,
and she's more clear than these wrestlers who haven't even debuted yet. So
it's true.
I get what you're trying to say, just like the vibe. Um, she feels like a baby face and like a eternal baby face type of thing, but we'll see. Also, no rookies have gone to any faction that isn't Queen's Quest or Stars in like a long time, at least immediately. uh so yeah, or Cosmic Angels I should say.
Yes, but we have I guess we just have an interesting crop this time because there's so many. So
Yeah,
it's like some of them have to go to different factions. What's her
I
name? Rana feels very away to tie, like already. Um,
yes, but I was also kind of thinking Hanako might go to Wait Time.
that would be bad. So let's not do that. Anyway, the main event, or well, not the main event, but the last match announced is the New Blood Tag Championship match. Hanan and Saida defend against Amisore and Lady C. Um, this is obviously a replacement. This was probably meant to be Waka and the unnamed new addition to Club Venus, but
Mm,
Waka is obviously injured, so there has been no unnamed addition to Club Venus. So we got me and Lady C. So there you go.
yeah, I hope Ida and Hanan win, obviously.
I would have expected that. Um, we've also announced the cards for kind of all the shows up through the end of the year. There's not a whole
Have
lot.
they now?
The
I haven't seen
the
these.
year-end climax at Corkin has a Sumo Hall preview. It's Julia, Micah, and Mirai versus Megan Bain, Suzu Suzuki, and Siori Ano in the main event. Then we have a Sumo Hall pre-match 12-person tag match. Ami, Saya, Azumi, Lady C, Hina, and Kevin versus Natsuko, Momo, Starlight Kid, Rocka, Rina, and Fukigen Death. We have Suri and Amisori taking on Nai Takashi and Yu. We have Mina Shirakawa versus Saki Kashima versus Yuna Mizumori. So Saki's coming back early. She's coming back
Mhm.
before Sumo Hall. She's back for some of these shows. We have Mai Sakurai and Tekla taking on Hazuki and Ida. And Anne versus Hanako. And then
My
Mei
dog didn't
Sarah
like that
versus
one.
Yuzuki. He did not. Um, yeah, Mei Sarah and Yuzuki then in the last match on the Korkin. So kind of a decent Korkin show when you look at it. And
Uh,
that main event is cool.
uh,
Awesome
I
factions
mean,
and stuff.
it's the end climax. It, that brings a tear to my eye that like we're here with Year End Climax because it's such a fun show. I'm gonna take care of my dog. Give me like two
Okay,
seconds.
that is fair. Alrighty. So in big news, Tam Nakano is real. Um, she
Allegedly.
won the Tokyo Sports Women's Grand Prix. I think is the one.
Yeah.
Which for like the last 10 years has basically just been gone to whoever is the world champion in Stardom for a prolonged period of
Except
time.
for
It was like
Sukasa won it one year, I think.
Tsukasa did the angle with the panda and his wife, and she won it that year because it drew. It was a legitimate draw, I
Yeah.
think. So that was one of the only breaks from Stardom.
Andreza
But Stardom,
Panda.
Dreza and his wife Tintin.
That's such a great name. Like,
Is
cause
it is
Andre the Andre the Giant,
yes
Andre
yeah.
the It's great. Love that.
That's why they gave it that name, I would
Yeah,
assume. Um,
geniuses.
yes, Tam is real, and she did a
Hmm.
video interview with Tokyo Sports, up and about, and she's blonde now, for people wondering. And according to Scott, she said she considered retirement after her injury.
She did.
Shock and horror. Joshi wrestler teases retirement. Wow. She
Tam
then also
Nakano
said,
teases retirement.
yes, but she also went on to say that she doesn't plan to retire, hopes to have a world title match against Suzu Suzuki in the future.
It's so mean.
So
The title match hasn't happened yet. Tam.
yeah, we loved Stardom wrestlers just being like, "Hey, here's what's happening." So yeah, Tam seems to be setting up a match with Suzu already. As you know, Saya has set up a match with Suzu. Um, so God
Suzu
knows
set up a
what's going to
match with
happen.
Julia,
She did. She did. Everything's just going crazy. So that's
and
Tam.
Micah is around.
Yes. So
She's
I
here.
don't I don't really know if Tam said anything else in the interview. I'm only going off what Scott said.
She's
HD subs did translate it, but it's a video, and I would have to transcribe said video, and I'm just not really arsed. So
she cried. She cried a bit. She felt like very
well, yeah,
uh
that's what she does.
she's
Not her.
yeah. She cried last Christmas too, surprisingly. Um
I
yeah,
can't read
so
this. I have ad block. I was like, oh, just read the Tokyo Sports article, and they're like, no, you have ad block. So it's
no,
Tokyo Sports.
she was tearing up. She wanted to like repay wrestling because she feels like, she failed as you do when you
Mhm.
get injured and are champion. And yeah, just stuff like that. Yeah, who knows what time.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. But that's
The
basically all the
interesting
news.
the interesting note on that is that Unagi got second place. Mainly
Yeah,
because Kenta Kobashi campaigned for her.
it's crazy. What do you think about it?
A little bit, especially because, and somebody can correct me. I asked Xavier and he had no idea. I'm pretty sure Kenta Kobashi like refused to vote on the women's stuff for a while. It might have been somebody else. Like again, if somebody knows, I remember there was one legendary wrestler who's just like, I don't give a fuck. And it's like, damn, okay. um, I thought it was Kenta Kobashi, but again, I'm not 100%
Well,
sure.
he's always been with the Joshi though. He's always had
That's
women's matches
That's why
on
that's
Fortune
why I was
Dream.
like, I don't think it was him, but I
No,
also don't know for sure. I think
if
it
I had
was.
to guess, I would guess Muto
You know what?
or
I
like
think it might have
Rune
been Muto.
Akiyama or something. But Muto seems his
Yeah.
bag.
I'm not for sure, but yeah. So basically, Kenta Kobashi, because he did book her on Fortune Dream 8, and
Hmm?
he was like, man, I don't hear much about the Joshi Indies, but I heard about Unagi this year, and I think that's dope. And that was basically his like pitch for her. So she got second place, and then Ano, Rina Yamashita, and Miyu
Mayu
Yamashita
Iwatani. Yeah.
got like one
What a
point each.
weird collection of votes. Why are you voting for Rin Yamashita? Like in a
I don't
kayfabe
know.
award.
I love Rina, but like
Uh,
she's
what did she
won
do?
she won the GCW tournament and then got geeked by fucking Blake Christian. Like I don't.
It was Masha, wasn't it?
She okay, she won the tournament. Um and then Blake Christian cashed in his opportunity during the Masha Rina title match and won the title.
Oh, I
It
see.
was
Because I
really
know
bad.
she's like is she still the Ultraviolent champion there? The deathmatch
Yes.
belt? Okay.
Yes.
Because yeah, I know she won that. I
And
thought you meant like that.
her and Masha are like the top tag team there, even though I don't think they're champions. Um, so she's huge over
Gotta
here, but
keep those belts on for Bussy, you know? Gotta give
man,
Bussy the tag belts, man.
please don't make me give my takes on Alley Cat and Effie. I don't want to.
How cancel
Um,
you want to get?
oh
That's
no,
basically
that sounds way worse. That sounds way worse than it actually is.
well, I don't know.
um,
I don't know. It sounded a bit risky, but it's
yeah, I don't mean it like that. Just let's pretend I didn't say anything. But yeah, it was an interesting list to say the least. Because like why were those 4 or 5 people there? Like
Yeah, like
I
why
don't know.
not Julia? Why didn't Julia get a single vote? She
I
like
think
was red belt
Sari not
champion.
getting a vote is kind of insane. I know she
Uh,
hasn't wrestled a ton, but
yeah, I think that kind of hurts it.
I think Rina Yamashita hasn't wrestled much in Japan either. You know what I mean? Like she's been mostly
Yeah,
America this
I don't know. I feel
year,
like she
but
just works Freedoms, and we don't watch Freedoms,
that's
so
true.
maybe that's
I
it.
don't watch a lot of Freedoms this year, unfortunately.
So
I was
I
meaning
don't
to,
know.
but I haven't.
It's it's Freedoms. Anyway, we have one show to review because that's all that's up. And this is
Well,
from
kind of,
December 7th.
because we have the entire weekend, but some of it was like the day we recorded.
Yeah, but there's no point in doing that. I don't think. Just
There
do
was one
December
match
7th.
at the Hiroshima show. Azumi and Utami versus Suzu in May was good. Highly
Okay,
recommend it. It was very
cool.
good. Past that, yeah, I
It
think
was
it's
a
just the
Crazy
Osaka.
Star Mafia Bella tag. That was cool.
I thought that was
Um,
all right.
thought it was all right. Okay, interesting. I thought you'd be into that. But anyway, the only show to review fully was on December 7th. This was Stardom presents Year-End Tour 2023. Stardom in Osaka Rinkai. This is in the Osaka Rinkai Sports Center first gymnasium, and it did 114 fans. Boy, oh boy, it sounded like there was five.
Yeah.
um,
So this, I looked it up because Rossy said something that was actually incorrect. He said this was the worst Stardom crowd ever. Like uh number wise, it was the lowest Stardom crowd
hmm,
ever. That's not technically true.
interesting.
It's technically the second lowest drawing. I emphasize the wrong word. Second lowest drawing Stardom card ever. Um, because the show after the lockdown was capped at 100 people. Um,
Oh, I
and
see.
it's third if you count no people gate.
Yeah,
But
I mean, you can't really.
if we are talking free attendance, like an open attendance, anybody can attend. There's no cap at 100 in the venue. Yeah, this is the worst Stardom draw ever.
Yeah, like their debut show didn't even do this badly, and that was
Oh,
their debut show.
I mean, like even their show, like in their rougher years, did better than that.
Yeah,
Like
that's
when
crazy.
you think about the fact that Shinkiba, the capacity is 300 people, and they've only dipped under 115 once, like under
Mm.
130 once, and it was this time and the COVID time. That's not good.
No,
um,
and Rossi had some interesting things to say actually. That was it seems to be aimed at management when he said this policy of just finding whatever venue you can, tweeting about it. We can't keep doing this. Like it's not getting people in the doors. We have to return to what's getting people in the doors. So he seems to have felt that this was a long time coming. When you look at the schedule and you look at how often they are in Osaka, why would you go to this show? Like in the Osaka Rinkai. What the hell is the Osaka
where it
Rinkai?
appears that they did not have very good heating.
Oh, so it's the middle of winter. It's like a Thursday in a random venue in Osaka where they run all the time. Like this was always destined to bomb basically, and it seems like Rossi has been like, look, we can't keep doing this. This isn't a good strategy. So this is one of those like holdovers of the Harada regime where they just said, look, just run shows. Who the hell cares? But that's clearly not how wrestling works. We know that as people who watch wrestling. Anybody in the wrestling business will know that you cannot just run shows and make money. That's not how that works. So I think we'll be seeing a show quite like this again. But who knows? Honestly.
I actually watched every match on the show just to get a vibe for how low
Wow.
we are. It was a fine show. Like it wasn't
Yeah, I
really
also watched every
bad.
match because it was only like five. So it
Yeah,
was kind of
this felt
easy.
very COVID era. because they used to run shows where it was only 5 minutes or 5 matches. The matches usually go long because it was only 5 matches, and the crowds were pretty empty and silent. So this very much felt like a 2020 Stardom show.
Yeah, just with like slightly better everything, I guess. Um, the opening match, I know it was Mina Shirakawa versus Rocca. Um, yeah, they wrestled to absolute silence. Mina, I felt bad for Mina. Even during her entrance, she was like, "Hey, let's go, let's clap for her, let's get it," and people were just not on board.
Yeah.
They
Uh,
proceeded to just have the most like dead match ever.
For 7 minutes. Like
Mm.
it was a long 7 minutes. Ami was at ringside. She was the only second available, so she was at ringside and she was not having fun. Like the look on her face was like, "Oh my fucking god, I don't want to be here." And I was just like, "Damn, you know when the wrestler in charge of being the attendant for a match also doesn't look like she wants to even kind of be there. You know where we're at."
Yeah, less said about this one, the better.
Yeah,
Um, we then had Momo Watanabe, Starlight Kid, and Natsuko Tora beat Yuzuki, Hanako, and Miyu Amasaki in 10 minutes when Momo pinned Yuzuki with a double knee bump. Is that
the
just the
Samato, the
Meteora?
Samato,
The Sonata.
yeah, the Meteora.
So the crowd did actually wake up for this, which I
This
was
was a
kind of
good
surprised
match.
by. It was,
This
yeah.
was a
They
good
just
match.
this is the match that Joshi will always do better than anybody else. It is just the rookies fighting up against actual stars. The crowd is always into it, always
Yeah.
engaged, and I thought the rookies looked good. Who was it that did? They were in there with Kid, and I was like, that was really good, but I can't
Yuzuki.
remember. Okay, yeah, Yuzuki. It was her because she was like everywhere. She did so much good stuff. Um,
Yeah. Hanako
so
and Natsuko is also fun. That was the other
yes,
note that
yeah.
I had was they did good
This
stuff
was
together.
fun. Like this was
Yeah.
like good. Um, after the match was an interesting thing of Momo being like, "You all suck, Kevin. You've been here 2 years, and this is the best you can do. You should be ashamed to like lead this class." Um, that's a really cool thing that I thought would pay off at Sumo Hall, but apparently not. Because I was like, "That's cool. You can do like Momo and somebody." But then I was like, "Oh, Momo's in the tag belt match, so you can't do that." They're not doing it at year-end climax. Not doing it at New Blood, so I guess she's just gonna talk shit to all of them, and it won't do
Yeah,
anything. I
I feel
guess.
like I've said this all year, but I really wish they would just utilize the Korkins better. Because I feel like a match like that would be great. You know what I mean? Like just having like the youngins try to take down a Momo Watanabe or something. Like just some interesting thing. Just for a year-end climax. Because why not? But can't do that because that's
Uh,
the road to the show that's not in the Tokyo Dome.
um, so yeah, I don't know. I kind of came away from that being like, oh, that's a cool angle to do, and then they just kind of don't seem to be building off of it at all. So that's kind of disappointing.
In a way,
Um,
I think it's possible, and you brought this up about Rana. Maybe this means that Oedo is going to recruit another youngin. Um,
yeah, maybe.
and they're like, you know what? You can't be you can't be listening to this motherfucker over here. You need to listen to us. You know what I mean? Like I could see that happening.
That would be good actually. If they just immediately like grabbed Rana and were like, "No, you are ours. We're
Mhm.
going to make you a troublemaker." That would be good actually. Yeah. Um, Match after that was Saya Kamatani, Azumi
That would make
Adutami
more sense though
Hayashishita.
if it was Rana versus Miyu, but that could happen like next week. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Go on. Sorry.
yeah, definitely. Saya Azumi Adutami, who still look like the most badass trio ever.
Mhm.
They beat Hazuki, Hana, and Ida when Azumi actually beat Hanan with a diving
Mm.
foot stomp in 11 minutes. Um, this was strange because you had like was it Hazuki and Utami like wrestling to absolute silence. I was like, dude, you were getting some cool action here,
Yeah,
and they just
this is really
weren't
good.
responding. It was, and the crowd was just like, nah, nah, dog,
It
I ain't
was
about that.
really hard. You could tell how hard it was for the wrestlers to kind of like get a vibe going, I guess. Um, but yeah, I thought this match was still really good. I thought that they I mean, Stars vs Queen's Quest in 2023 is such an insane matchup. Always, like it's always good. So, like, what do you expect? But I'm really happy that Queen's Quest is back, so that we can just have these random shows, these random matches on house shows. They're just killer. Um,
Yes.
because that's
Tommy
kind of the
carrying the
Queen's
flag
Quest.
everywhere is such a badass move. Like
Yeah,
just
and also the black and gold hoodies for Queen's Quest I like them. I like them a lot.
mhm. Yeah,
Um,
Queen's Quest are such a vibe. I feel
one
like
other funny note. Go ahead. Go ahead.
we don't speak enough about how they just carry the aesthetics of Stardom because they are
Oh
just
yeah,
they're everything.
there's a reason they're our namesake. I mean,
It's
they've
true.
we've been here. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But one little funny thing is that before the match, when Stars was making their entrance, so Ida before her matches, whenever she walks through the curtain, yells like she goes ah, and then she like does her entrance. This time for whatever reason, she came out and yelled for 20 straight seconds,
Crackhead.
and then she was like,
Okay,
"Oh boy."
I have a mean joke here. I have a mean joke here. They told her she wasn't losing and she just couldn't help herself.
She's like, yeah. Hana's gonna take that shit. Let's go. Um, yeah, no, but she just kept going, and then she like ran out of breath and looked at Hazuki and was like, "Oh my god," and Hazuki just dies laughing.
Love it.
And
I
it
love
it
stuff.
also it that led to all 11 people in the arena also giggling at the entrance. Um, yeah, I mean, Hana and Azumi, I could write like pieces about that a million times. I think they had a great closing stretch.
Mhm.
Um, and I like that Azumi kind of considers Hanan her like she's doing little things to have Hanan like look like her adversary. You know what I mean? And I think that's cool because Hanan needs
And
stuff
has
like
been
that.
like slowly like powering up in recent months. It's kind of
Mhm.
interesting. They're like
Which
giving her more and more responsibility and stuff.
which kind of is interesting with stars because like every faction has three top wrestlers. Usually one of them can get pinned.
Mm.
Um, Stars has like technically they have like five top wrestlers. It's just that three of them could get pinned because like they protect Koguma more than like you would expect. They protect
Mhm.
Hanan more than you'd expect. They protect Ida sometimes, but they also all three lose. Like, do you get what I'm trying to say? Where it's like there is
Yes.
no like the hierarchy so uh mashed in stars except for obviously Mayu and Hazuki, who you'll never see catching a fall. Um, but I just thought that was an interesting thing that I thought about is that it's just like stars is very much like a anybody can win, anybody can lose type of faction, which I think is really cool that they've kind of cultivated that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ida's been like handing off some of those L's to Hanan lately, so it's it's
Yeah,
pretty neat.
they're splitting the damage.
Yeah. In the same way, like Hanan got falls instead of Mayu for a little bit there, so
Hmm.
like she's been more involved, which is kind of what you want to see. Um, yeah, a lot of interesting stuff there, other than the crowd, because that was just crazy. Like Utami and Hazuki were going crazy, and just nothing. I was so amazed. Like, geez.
Utami actually got to have like her little time with everybody, and it was all good. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah,
What do you think? How you feeling about Saya? I feel like she's just like,
Talasaya.
yeah, because she's kind of like there but not there. You know,
I mean,
is she still holding back?
I think Sai is a big match wrestler. Um,
Maybe
I don't think she's ever been like a house show wrestler as much as the rest of Queen's Quest is.
that's true.
She's obviously good on house shows, especially when she just randomly decides she really wants to try. But I think she's similar to Koguma, where it's like certain matches she just won't tag in. You know what I mean? Like sometimes
Mm.
she'll just be like, I'll get in there for a good 15 seconds, hit a rolling kick, and then tag back out. And I think that's kind of what this match was for the most part. Um, and I think that's kind of where she is. She's a big match wrestler, and I don't particularly fault her for that, especially coming off of such a you know specific injury that's like took her out for a while and really made her rethink how she approaches wrestling. I get her kind of being like, you know what, I'm not risking I'm not risking in front of 110 people.
That's fair, honestly. Yeah. Um, Match after that then was Mei Sarah and Suzuki beating Megan Bain and Yuna Mizumori. Suzu pinned Yuna in just under 8 minutes with a tequila shot. Um, Or that was just good as well. Crazy Star like teaming up to chop down Megan was really fun.
Yes.
And obviously Suzu and Yuna then was the closing stretch, with Suzu kind of just putting her away like quite definitively. Um, he always seems to beat her with the tequila shot as well. It's like a specialty for Yuna. Like she just
Aren't they running that
always
singles
wins.
match again, or did they already do that again?
I have no idea, but I know what you're talking about because they were scheduled to wrestle at some point, but
Yeah, who
I couldn't
knows?
tell you.
I can
Um,
imagine Yuna kicks out of the tequila shot and has to get put away with a different move. Whenever they have an R singles.
Maybe. Will other people remember that? Because I don't think so. But who knows? So yeah, I thought this was a good match, but obviously, crowd was still not great. So it's
I think this match is
what it
where
is.
the crowd frustrated me the most because I felt like
Mhm.
everything May was doing with Megan, like it actively like popped me at home, right? Like I was here like, oh, like I was like reacting like verbally more than the crowd was.
Yeah.
um just because like I think May gets it when it comes to Megan.
Of
And I said
course.
this with the tag stuff, but I also think opposite her, it's like she just completely like it just clicks. She knows exactly what she's doing and where she's supposed to be and how like it's perfect. Like if I'm being honest, I think May versus Megan is the last match I would run uh before Megan dips if the Julia match isn't the last one, which I imagine it is. But if not, like that's the match I would want to run is a singles between them. Uh and give May the win since she's been, you
If
know,
dude,
why not?
Megan might be beating Julia. I don't think she's losing to May Sarah anytime soon.
May Sarah May Sarah double champion, the the strong high speed. Um
As if.
I don't
Um,
know if they're gonna run Megan beating Julia because I think they're just gonna kill the belt like completely
you
because they're
think?
killing the rest of the belts.
Yeah, but if they kill the belt, how are they going to convince Mercedes Money to stick around?
She can have the IWGP belt back. I mean, they're not gonna
That
convince
is
her anyway.
Mayu's belt until that movie is
Well, that
finished.
movie
Right?
comes out in February, doesn't it?
Yeah, but
She
she
could
has to
win
do a
it back
press
in.
tour then. She has to do a full
Yeah,
press
that's true.
tour. So I don't know. I feel like you got to keep it on Mayu. But who knows? Mercedes Money, she might not be real. We don't know. Um, Main event of the show
I
is
didn't
Mai
even get to.
Sakurai.
Uh,
Don't say you didn't get to speak because you did speak.
I did get to speak, but I didn't get to speak about one specific thing from this match that I wanted to talk
One
about.
specific thing.
May slapped the shit out of Megan so hard, like so stiff, and nothing. And I was so upset. I was like, that was the coolest shit ever. Like she's just like, man, fuck you. like I was just like, this is great. Um, and yeah, just May Sarah's a legend. She's so good.
She's great. The main event was Mai Sakurai, Tekla, Maika, and Julia beating Scandinavian Hurricane, Misore, Mirai, and Siri. Julia beat Hurricane with a glorious driver in just under 17 minutes.
Shane
Uh, the
Helmsang here.
Yeah, the
Nothing.
Hurricane. I get it. I get it. You snuck that one in. You really did. So the finishing stretch was Julia and Alice Inc., and I thought it was pretty good. Alice definitely looked quite well with God's Eye, and also when she got to
Mhm.
pick her spots kind of in the tag match, I think she looked a lot better than she did in kind of some of the singles matches. But obviously, I mean, when you're in there with all of these good wrestlers and you're paired off with Julia, it's hard to not be good.
I actually
Um,
thought Allison Tekla's stuff early on was cool. I thought it was a better showing, even though it was only like 30, 40 seconds, was like a better showing than the singles match they had. I just felt like they really like just like clicked and then they got to get out. You know what I mean? Pretty much.
Yeah, they've got a
Uh,
cool thing going. That's why
yeah,
I hope Alice comes back. I feel like she
I
has
think
some
that'd be
stuff
cool.
already to play with.
But yeah, I think this was in line with a lot of Stardom house show main events in that it's like there was some good stuff, but I will not remember it. Uh, I barely remember it right now, and I watched it last night. If I'm being real, uh, like it's a house show main event, eight
Mm,
person tag.
that's fair, honestly. Um, yeah, that's the only show that's up though. So the rest of the time we're just gonna be
Oh yeah,
running
and Julia
through.
also said that it was very cold and sad in the venue, but they'll fight for better days.
It's
basically.
cool. Yeah, she was like, "Hey, stick with us, stick with Stardom. We're gonna change this," and I thought that was kind of cool.
We're gonna change
Which
some
would
things.
if she leaves, I feel like that will be
I mean, to
very
be fair,
poorly aged.
it's a very Okada thing in that sense.
Yeah,
In
that's
that
true.
Okada's been like, "Oh, I'm gonna like make sure this company survives post COVID," and he's just like, "Oh, COVID's over later." That'd be insane. But yeah, um, I hope Julia. I hope Julia stays just because, like, you know, I think morale
She's the
wise, Julia is
main
needed.
character. Like I've said this before. I said it after she won the belt. Like she's the main character. Like if Stardom is a
Jesus
TV show,
Christ.
she's the one that you like focus the episodes on.
I apologize for sidetracking, but Tomoka Inaba just posted a picture of the Albright that Chihiro hit on her last night. In motion, it is scary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is big hash for you.
I'm gonna send it real quick. It's in the Discord. Oh fuck! I forgot to put the. Just click the link. It's okay.
Okay. Okay.
Like, look at that. Like, that is like she's gonna die.
Oh, dude, Hashimoto's suplex is one of the most aesthetic things. She just gets a crazy angle on it. It's so good. The one she used to hit on Mio. Remember her and
Yeah.
Mio Momono? Like,
hmm
dude, she would just kill her. It was fantastic. Yeah, no, Chihiro
That
Hashimoto's
made
cool.
that made every match of theirs like 7 times better, and their matches were phenomenal.
Yeah, dude, take me back. Take me back to Mio and Hashimoto. You know.
Guyism. I can't believe it died again.
Isn't the great. Yeah. Well, it's Tomoka. Some would say Tomoka Watanabe versus Mio Momono is the spirit of Gaia Japan, and it was a cool match. I can't disagree. So who knows? Anyway, the next show was on December 9th. This is also in Osaka. This is the Osaka final in Edion Osaka Arena number 2. This had 324 fans. So for every one person that didn't show up the day, we got a new one here. Um, the opening match was Mina Shirakawa beating Yuzuki and Saya Ida in a three-way. Mina beat Yuzuki with what the website is calling a back blow. I don't know what that is. Don't
What?
laugh. You can't
No,
laugh.
not like no, not because just because that's just like a
Just don't laugh. Don't laugh.
uh
Okay. But
yeah,
yeah,
it doesn't say anything.
no.
I don't see anything.
I don't really know what moves Mina has that could be considered a back blow.
I mean,
Like,
the last move they have is an Enjiguri, which is technically like Enzu means
oh,
back.
is it a back elbow? No, it's not the back elbow. She stands up and hits her with a medullary slash. Yeah, I don't know, man. Listen,
I think that might have just been an Enziguri.
would she win with an enziguri?
Against Yuzuki. Can't be that hard.
Maybe. I don't know. The next match then was Hazuki and Hanan beating Mai Sakurai and Tekla. Hanan pinned 8 minutes
hmm
with the 17. Interesting.
That's what I was talking about. Is that it's like really it, anybody except for Momokogo in Stars can just win matches, but they can also pretty much all lose them
As
too.
anybody but that Komomo, who has also just not been around for a long time. I wonder how she's getting
She's been
on.
doing like office stuff, I think, from what I can tell. Like she's been
Interesting.
around Bushiroad a lot. She'll post about it pretty frequently. And she's in the gym all the time, so like uh, you never know with injuries that we don't know the schematics of. But hope she's good.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll be okay. Um, a match after that was Momo Watanabe, Starlight Kid, Rocket, and Natsuko Tora beating Miyo Masaki, Sai Kamatani, Azumi, and Utami Hayashishita. This says Momo pin Saya with a
Yeah.
Peach Sunrise in under 11 minutes. Wow. Okay. It's
Okay. So,
interesting.
huh.
Well, it's a
I
preview of
we're
the
still
Goddess
here.
match, but
Like, I just think about how this exact match happened with this almost nearly identical finish um, before the cage match in this arena. I think it
yeah,
was Natsuko pinning Utami or something along those lines. Uh, and I'm just like, wow, what a year it's been.
yeah. I feel like you're really just glossing over the fact Momo beat Saya. That's pretty big. Because like this used to be something they did a lot, but they got away from it,
Yeah.
especially after COVID. Like, yeah, top stars would never pin top stars, but
In
here
fact,
they
I
just
think
had Saya
Saya
do
is
it.
like the only person who has taken those falls because like the Hazuki match was built off of Saya taking a fall in a tag match.
Yeah, that's
Um,
interesting.
yeah, I mean you're right. I think it's interesting because I guess Saya is kind of meant to be like a glass cannon where like she wins all the time, but also she's not like invincible. She could lose not necessarily easily, but she doesn't. You know, she takes pin. She's capable of taking pins, which I think is interesting. But yeah, I mean, the thing with Oedo Tai is I feel like they are always like they never aren't winning, but they never win for real. You know what I mean? Like it's an interesting heel. I guess it's just because they're a heel faction ultimately. But like any house show, you'll probably see an Oedo Tai win. More
Mm.
often than you'll see pretty much any other faction not named, a DDM. Uh, more often than you'll see them win. But again, they haven't won a tournament ever. Faction history, they have not won a notable tournament in history, and they haven't held a belt since the artist belt. I mean, Rena has a belt, but they as a faction haven't held like a main belt since the artist belts a year ago, and they haven't really looked like they were in position to since then, until maybe now. So yeah, I mean it's interesting, but you know,
The next match on the show was Megan Bain beating Alice Inc. in under 6 minutes with an F5.
under 6 minutes
Then
is wild. I'm gonna just
yeah,
killed her.
I guess that's the sweet spot for Megan. Um,
Yeah.
we had a bit of a preview match then with Ami Sourei, Mirai, and Siri beating Siri Ano, Hanako, and Yuna Mizumori. Mirai got the win with the lariat in 11.5 minutes. After the match, Mirai and Ano went kind of face to face in the way Stardom wrestlers do when they're building a title match, and they held up the belt because that's how you do it. Um, so yeah, then we had Maika and Julia beating May Sarah and Suzu Suzuki when Maika got the win for her team in 18 minutes with a Michinoku driver number 2. Every picture of this has Maika and Suzu scrapping. Like, and Megan Bain was also there for some reason. Yeah, she showed up. Mean Mode with Julia.
I was very
Meanwhile,
confused. I was like, "Wait, didn't I just see her?"
yeah, so she showed up, and yeah, Maika and Suzu were like at each other's throats because that's kind of how they're doing it. Um, That's yeah. I mean, sure. Why not? Oh, this was the
May Sarah,
challenge. This was when Megan challenged for the belt. I
yeah.
forgot. Yeah, so she came out after the match and was like, "Hey, I want you in your Japan belt. You didn't beat me." So yeah, that makes sense. Micah talks shit to Suzu, saying, "Hey, at Sumo Hall, we're gonna do this again. You know, you saw what happened to Mariah or May Sarah here, and I'm gonna do that to you." And they grabbed each other by the hair because that's how they do it. Um, yeah, Micah was
You
talking
know,
shit.
May Sarah might be a cosmic angel because of how much she loves losing to the Michinoku driver number 2. I don't think she's lost to any one move more since joining Stardom. Because
I don't
like
know.
she's
She
like
doesn't lose a lot, to be fair.
exactly. She's pretty much only lost fall wise, like only lost to like Micah, and it's pretty much just Micah.
Yeah, that's fair.
She's lost like 3 or
Uh,
4 times to Micah.
that was that show. Nothing
Hmm.
really much happening there. The next show then was on November 10th. This is the year-end tour 2023. Stardom in Kobe. This is in the Kobe Sunbo Hall in front of 231 fans. In the opener, Saya Ida beat Yuzuki in 9 minutes with what is it says is a reverse roll up. So not even an
Really?
Idabashi, just like a reverse roll up. Maybe it was the Idabashi and they just named it wrong. I don't know. Seems like it was a tricky finish though.
She might have
Megan,
that. Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
yeah,
Shrimp hardening just
uh,
means pin, so maybe that she like did something and then pinned her, and they were just like, "Oh, the pin, obviously."
possibly, yeah, maybe. Megan Bain beat
Wait.
Hanako.
Oh, it's the wrong shrimp hardening. This was a Boston crab
Oh,
because both a
what? Sure.
pinfall and a Boston crab are called a shrimp hardening.
Right. I mean, sure. Okay. Um, so she's
Love Google
submit
Translate.
Yuzuki. It's fantastic, honestly. Megan Bain beat Hanako in 5 minutes with an F5. She's not logging that ring time, that's for sure.
This was either sick
Um,
or bad.
who knows?
Just like looking at the pictures, it looks pretty intense, but it also might have been like, oh boy.
Yeah. Well, it was only 5 minutes, so how
Yeah,
bad could it really be?
that's true.
Um, Suzuki
Here
beat
it is.
Unimizumori with a tequila shot in 5.5 minutes.
Oh man, I love getting proven wrong 20 minutes after I said
Yeah,
something.
this is
Um,
fantastic, really.
Unimon, a big
Uh,
Colt Cabana fan with the Billy Goat's Curse in the first picture. Um,
yeah,
yeah,
that's a
yeah.
neat finisher or a submission.
I
We
do
had
like
an
that as a submission.
Yeah, it's good. We had an interesting result then. Mei Sarah and Mina Shirakawa went to a 15-minute time limit draw with Hazuki and Hanan. So this is part of Hanan leveling up. I mean, this previously would have been a Hanan loss. Instead, it went to a draw. Mina is without a home. It's really sad. They kind of teased Hanan and Mei
Oh, they
high
definitely
speed,
teased Hananime.
for the high speed specifically. I don't know if they're gonna do that. And Hanan seems to be like, well, I guess I'll wrestle you high speed if I have to, but they
I
didn't
think they
say
should
anything
run
about it in
that.
the report.
I think they should run that so that Mei Sarah can beat her, and then like in the Cinderella, Hanan can get her win back. You know what I mean? Like in a non-high speed
Yeah,
setting. Because I think Mei Sarah, I think them being 50-50 is smart because I think they're both kind of in the same realm of where, you know, they're in the Starlight Kid Azumi realm, but almost just barely below that, just a smidge. So I think keeping them 50-50 would be smart, but I do think they should run that title match because, as I said, Mei Sarah needs people to learn high speed for 5 minutes so that they can run a match.
that's true. They plucked challengers out of thin air for Azumi. I think they can do the same for her.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, also, wanted to know about this show. Himeka was there.
she was. I saw on Rossy's Twitter, he met a few people.
Yes.
Himeka, he met Chris Wolf. She's
Yes.
over currently. Um, she's been visiting a few people. Was she with ACT the other day as well? Did I see
Yes,
that? Am I
she's
crazy?
visited ACT, she visited Fuka, she visited Rossy, obviously, and she's doing this all because she's doing a talk show for Kyoko and the
Oh
Hana,
yes, yeah, I remember
the
that now.
yeah. So that's why she's over
Okay.
there, and it's all really sweet seeing a bunch of pictures of her
Hmm.
because she's been radio silent since she retired, and so everybody's just like, oh, it's so nice to
Yeah.
see her
But
around.
it's like a good
Um,
radio silent because
yeah, yeah.
she's like married and
She's
loving
married. She's a
life.
gardener. Like she's yeah. She's enjoying
She
her
got
life.
a tall Viking wife. Like
Yes.
she won. She won really.
You
Uh,
ain't wrong. But, the reason
yeah.
I bring this up is because Mina went over to Himeka in the crowd,
Oh,
and, like, just, like, looked at her, was like, "Hey, what's up,
that's
girl?"
nice. That's why when Himeka retired, we were both like, "Oh, she's coming back. She loves
You
this shit,
know,
man.
I think
She can't
this
get away."
made me realize that it's like, Imma wait a few years before
Mm,
I'm too, like, like, "Oh, she's retired," because it's like, she's still around. She shows up and watches a wrestling show randomly, just,
yeah, I, g-
because.
I got the sense she'd be back. Got the sense she'd be back when she left. To be fair, I was like, this does not
Yeah.
sound like a woman who is finished with pro wrestling. Um, who knows? What do I know, really? Um, next match on the show then was Momo Anabe, Starlight Kid, Rocca, Natsuko Tora beating Alice Inc., Misore, Mirai, and Siri in an elimination tag match.
Mm.
Starlight Kid got the last win for her team. At
Over
least I think
Alice.
so. For
Yeah.
Alice, okay. Um, so yeah, that was it. There was no big
Oh, there's
surprises.
2.
Yes, there are two. No big surprises there. Momo and Siri eliminated each other over the top rope. Tora and Mirai eliminated each other over the top rope. That's usually their go-to get out in a match like this. Um,
Looks like
uh,
Ami pinned Ruaka,
yeah,
maybe?
yeah,
I'm not reading, I'm just looking at the
yeah.
pictures.
Wait, no, I think Rocka pins Ami. Wait, no. Sorry, no,
There's
Rock.
no way
Yeah, sorry.
yeah, Blue Thunder. Yeah, okay.
Those have them in the wrong order though.
It
Which is
does.
oh, maybe it was reversed. No, because then Ulmo threw Misori over the
Yeah,
top.
Ami was
Yeah,
still
okay.
in.
All right.
The only
I went on
person that
to
got pinned was Ruaka. That's
that's
and
poor
Alice
Rock.
Inc. Um,
Yeah, Alice.
yeah.
So yeah, Kate got the win for her team there to heat her up. Um, went onto Twitter to check Rossy's thing, and I just see this trailer for Kung Fu Panda 4.
Hmm.
Twitter knows what I want. That is for sure. Because Rossy posted about being hit with a shoe, posted with Aphrodite, posted with Chris, posted with Himeka, and yeah, not much else. I thought he'd done a bit more, but all right. The main event I'm going to assume of this show was Miyu Amasaki, Sai Kamatani, Azumi and Utami Hayashishita beating Mai Sakurai, Tekla, Maika, and Julia in an elimination tag match when Utami was the last one standing. She last pinned Mai Sakurai. So that's an interesting final pair. They've
There are a
really
lot of
gone straight back to Utami being like OP because she wins these
yeah
matches with the German actually as well, not with the kind of power bombs or
BT
anything,
bomb.
just the German
Yeah,
because she
or
pinned
yeah.
Megan with that as well. So they've kind of
I
gone
think
back to
I think
powering her up.
she has been kind of looking for a new move for a while. 'Cause she
Yes.
started doing that the blazer or the Baszler rather. um and then just Mayu kicked out of it. So yeah, she's just hanging out. She likes that German. She really likes that German suplex. If she can get away with pinning you with it, she will. Um, I respect that. A lot of pictures here are Mai Sakurai getting her ass beat. Um,
Mm.
it's pretty sick. But yeah,
She was
that
yeah,
sounded like a fun match.
she was getting beaten from one pillar to the other. Um she did there was like the Queen's Quest pose and everybody was doing theirs and Miyu was just like half-arsed doing the gun thing. I was like, you didn't get the memo. You gotta do the Queen's Quest. Anyway, that's yeah. Listen, I'm just trying to make shit up here to go with. I was like, I should say something, but no,
That's the beauty of podcasting. It's like I should
I
probably
know.
say something right now. I don't know what, but something
It's
will come
weird
out.
because it's been so long since there was just like nothing to say. But this is just a stretch of house shows, man. There's nothing. Um, so I guess that's on to the review or the preview section, if you want. One bit of news that we forgot actually is they announced Starlight Kids match for the Wave show. She's wrestling Kohaku, which is a pretty cool match.
Man,
When is that? Because it's not
that's
on
the
the calendar.
24. No, no,
Oh
no, no.
no, because she's on the Cork and that
26th,
now.
26th maybe.
6th. Okay, all right, a day after New Blood. Yeah, because that's a cool match. Kohaku trained in the same class as May Sarah. Um, so if you need a indication
Kind
of
of a
how she
similar
wrestles,
style.
it's
Um,
both
I
very creative, very fast.
yeah, I think I've said it before, but Mio Momono, Kohaku, and Mei Seira are like the telltale signs that like the Marvelous Dojo could be so great. Um, if the booking was better and people wanted to go
Yeah.
there. You know what I mean? Like really, because those three have like this brain and this like knowledge of wrestling that just the way that they sequence moves is like it's an art. And obviously they all learned the same place, so I imagine that they learned from the same person on how to make that so artistically pleasing.
Yes. They're all very good at that. So yeah, Kid vs Kohaku is a cool match. I imagine that'll air on their confetti page. That's how they stream pay-per-views now. I've never been able to crack confetti because I think you would need a Japanese like address and maybe a phone number to buy the shows. So I've never been able to crack confetti to like pay Wave money. So
Wave hates
yeah,
foreigners.
dude, most Joshi seems to. I don't know.
This is true.
Um, yeah,
Except
that's
for
the only
Marvelous.
kind of. Oh, yeah, they might like them too much, depending.
A little bit.
Um, We have one show in the coming week, which you could probably tell by us trying to stall. This is Stardom Year End Tour in Niigata. They do not have the card on the schedule. It's fantastic. I thought we cleared this up, guys. So, like, what happened? You were so good for like a week there.
That was really funny when you think about it. That they were like, "Oh, we're gonna try a lot harder from now on." They tried for a week, and
Mm,
now it's kind of back to where it's like, "Okay, we're gonna figure it out, guys."
which is
um,
relatable. In
I'm not
fairness,
finding this very quickly in the. Oh, here it is. Here it is.
I have it. I have
Um,
it. Yeah. So the opening match of the show, it's in the Niigata City Industrial Promotion Center. Uh, we have Mina Shirakawa and Yuzuki versus Yuna Mizumori and Hanako. So I think that's an easy Mina win.
no, because
Let's say
Yuzuki's
that
there.
Hanako beat one of her colleagues or whatever you
I
want to
think
call it.
Yuna over Yuzuki.
Yuna, really?
Yuzuki debuted 3 weeks ago, pal.
Yeah,
She
but I think
she's
they would
losing
do
she's losing to
Hanako.
Boston Crabs and Meteoras.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, that's
Yuna's
fair.
got to have
Okay.
something.
Okay. All right. I guess. We have Saya Kamatani and Lady C, the return, as they take on Ami Sourei and Mei Sarah in
Queen's
a
Quest
fun-looking
tall,
team. Yes.
the,
QQ
the tall the
tall.
tall ladies of tall of the tall ladies of tall, the tall ladies of Queen's Quest. Um, wait, who is she tagging with Ami?
Mei Sarah.
Oh, that's kind of a hard. I mean, I guess Lacey falls here.
Um, yeah, I guess, yeah, because they're not going to have Ami lose. And obviously Mei Sarah is the
High
high
speed
speed
champion.
champion. So yeah, that makes sense. Um, the next match is Utami Hayashishita, Azumi, and Miyu Masaki taking on Hazuki, Hanan, and Saya Ida. You would imagine either Hanan or Ida loses that, or maybe Hanan gets her win back over Azumi. I don't know, or
Oh,
Hanan
Miyu.
pins Kevin.
Miyu's in there.
I
Yeah.
know. I was getting to her. Don't worry.
I'm not. I think you're interpreting sass when there isn't sass, Alex. I'm
I'm
not being
just, I'm
sassy.
just, just saying, just putting it out there.
I
You know,
apologize
I
if I come
was, I
across
was,
as
I
sassy.
was
I'm not
getting,
meaning.
I was getting to Kevin. I could never forget Kevin. Anyway,
Kevin's always
yeah,
on the mind.
always.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, anybody can pin Kevin, and then like I said, anybody could win or lose against
Mhm.
Hanan and Ida. So
The
you
the
know,
thing is though is they kind of have made Utami OP, so I think her
this is
just
true.
German suplexing Ida is a
That's
very
true.
possible outcome here.
In fact, I think Utami over Ida is probably the most likely outcome of
Yes,
the bunch.
definitely.
But beyond that, I think it's mostly over Kevin. You know what I mean?
Yes, of course. The match after that is Suzuki versus Scandinavian Hurricane. This might be the last Alice Inc. match in Stardom?
Appears that it
Question
is.
mark. So that'll probably be a Suzu win. She'll send Alice off with that. So yeah, should be fine.
Mm,
Anybody's gonna get a good effort out of Alice, it would be Suzu.
maybe.
It's
I don't
great.
know. I don't trust her against foreigners after the Megan thing.
That crowd was
That's
killing them.
true.
So we then have Suri and Mirai versus Siori Ano and Megan Bain. Oh, that's a draw. that is the
Yeah,
most
it's an
draw
aggressively.
match.
That's a yeah.
They're going in on these Mirai Ano review tags. That's almost like
Well,
the biggest match at that Sumo Hall show in some ways. How
I
much
mean,
they're
it's.
like reviewing it.
Do you think Ano has a chance?
Yes. Yeah.
I feel
Well.
like I've been like hesitant to like acknowledge that she does, but
mm,
like because it feels like she does it, but it also like I feel like it would be dumb to not give her a chance here. Um, it also opens Mariah up to win the Cinderella for a third time in a row.
God.
Because fuck that tournament, I don't have any ideas. Uh, that's the Rossy in me. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It is an interesting match.
Guess the only thing that will hold Ano back is she isn't signed.
Yeah, and she has the Scabon contract, so she's not
She
going to be
does, and she's
signed.
also, even if she were to leave Oz, they run the day after Stardom, so she wouldn't be able to announce that until like the day after. So I don't think they would go for that at all.
I mean,
So
I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I don't know. Santana Garrett held the belt for a while.
it's true. That is true. But they seem very different now about everything.
Yes. But also
So I don't know.
Suzu and Prominence did hold the artist belts for a while. I don't know. It is interesting because I feel like the white belt, the whole perception of it post Tam feels completely different from it before Tam.
Mm.
Because like at one point it felt like as exclusive as the red belt. And now I'm just like, shit. I mean, Otto could take it. Like, sure. Who knows?
Yeah.
um. So yeah, that's kind of just where we're at.
All right. The main event then is Julia, Maika, Mai Sakurai, and Tekla versus Natsuko Tora, Momo Anabe, Starlight Kid, and Rocka. Everything
Oh
about we
boy.
got here with DDM, like Julia, Maika, Mai Sakurai, and Tekla from Julia, Siri, Himeka, Natsupoi as like the four, you know? I think that's just a really interesting change, I guess.
I was thinking about that
You
the other
look
day
at
as well,
DDM now
actually.
versus DDM, the super team. We're just so fascinating.
Yeah, and it feels like it's so like what is DDM now?
Julia's group. That's it.
Yeah, but because like I thought about it because I brought up on Twitter that I was like, oh, DDM for being the women of the world has never housed a non long-term resident of Japan. It's the only faction that that's the case for. Um, except for maybe Cosmic Angels, depending on how you feel about Club Venus at the beginning of the year, because they were kind of the subsidiary of the group, so they weren't in the group, but they were kind of in the group. Besides the point, only faction in the company that has not held a single foreigner outside Tekla who lives there. Um, and at first, it's like, oh, that makes sense because it's like women of the world, as in like they are traveled and they haven't grown in stardom, like they have all come from outside, and still all the rest of Sundalo have not been trained by stardom, but they've been there for so long that they aren't really like this invading force anymore. And they haven't been for a while. But they also aren't like Mahime Poi because two of them are gone. And they're also not Shuri and Julia on a power trip because Shuri's gone. And my Sakurai is a aristocrat. Like
Yeah.
it's funny to kind of put it into like basic English and be like, what the fuck happened to this faction? Not in like a bad way, but just in like a literal like how like we are completely in a different spot than we were at the last worst drawing Stardom show, for example, when Hameka debuted, um, and DDM was about to be in full force.
Yeah, I guess this is the life flow of a faction. I mean,
Yeah,
the Stars super team didn't last. The Queen's Quest super team didn't last.
this Queen's
That
Quest Super
stuff
Team has kind of lasted. Uh,
kind of, it
it's just
depends on
Momo.
how you
It's just their
define it.
leader is gone.
Yes. Yeah, Azumi is not Momo.
Yeah,
Um, Nor is she like Saya, really. So I don't know. Yeah, that's all really. Because this is a quiet week. Next week is kind of when things get juicy because we have the Korkin, we have New Blood. There's a show in Saitama that uh, is going to happen. Um, and then obviously the week after that we have Dream Queendom. So things are going to heat up in Stardom over the next 2 weeks. This week was just one of the weird ones where like nothing really happened, but we're here as always to just keep you up to date and and I don't know.
I do wonder what they do to kind of fill the time since they're not doing the Triangle Derby.
I have no clue,
Because like they
honestly.
haven't announced any shows past the first week of February, and even then they've only announced one, which
Mm.
is their annual KBS Hall that they always do in February, pretty much. Um, and yeah, it's just it's interesting seeing the because I'm on the next month. I'm on January. It's interesting seeing such a light schedule.
Yeah, like I mean that was the whole point though, wasn't it? Like that's
Yeah. No, I'm okay
yeah,
with it,
you
but it's
know.
like, but it feels strange because it's like, oh yeah, they don't even really have like a big pay per view. I guess they have the award show, depending on if they
See,
run as a pay per
it's
view.
it's weird because they are front loaded. Like they have two
Yeah,
big shows in the first week, and
and
then they're very
January
quiet.
is calendar wise, it's a long month because
Mm.
the way it starts and ends. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
They're running somewhere, in February anyway for pay per view. I don't think it's on here yet.
Oh shit, they have a cork and after the Tokyo Dome. Jesus Christ, I didn't even know they had another cork in that week.
But that's the like holiday New Year bump. Like those will
Yeah.
sell regardless. It's crazy. Um, but yeah, we're it's going to be an interesting company to follow, and we didn't really get to say it, and it's a bit too late to go into it. But Sonny has been on the message boards, kind of doom posting about this company. He was like, "Say goodbye to the Stardom you know and love. Things are going to get worse before they get better." Like,
Is Tommy
he
getting
made it
fired? Like,
I
is
don't know.
like that's what
In the
that's
back
how he was posting the last time he got fired. Um,
it's true. The back of my mind, I was like, "Is Rossy gonna walk or something?" Because he does not seem like a happy camper.
if Rossy
Um,
walks, I think that uh, I think Stardom walks. I think a lot of the wrestlers are going to be like, "Why am I even here?"
that's why I
Uh,
think he was saying it's gonna get worse before it gets better, but, like, that's just worst case scenario. Because
yeah.
part of me had kinda noticed that there might be unhappiness with Rossy and his tweet being like, "We cannot keep booking shows like this, what the hell?" Definitely didn't read like a guy who's happy with management. Um Yeah, it's an interesting Stardom right now. Uh, we didn't talk about it either, but the Sumo Hall card got a very mixed response in my circles. Anyway, I saw people who were like, "That is not a Sumo Hall card." I saw people who were like, "That's it. That's
I
it."
think to be fair, if we hadn't known like some of the top matches until like a bit later, I think it would have been a bit more like, oh, this is like it's top heavy, but it's a solid card. But I think the fact that it's like, oh, okay, so what else? After the top 3 matches, it's like, you know what I mean? I think in part it's the way that the news have flowed out, but in another part it is just kind of a weaker card, than you'd expect necessarily.
Yeah, it's interesting. And to be fair, they don't. I mean, the card they did last December at Sumo Hall was not good. So this is better. This is definitely better. Shuri versus Julia is probably better than anything that will happen on this show. Overall, this is a better show than last year. I mean, there's no Saya versus Umasaki to look at.
Which should have been good,
Um,
by the way. I mean,
Sort of, yeah.
if it wasn't built the way it was in that it wasn't built, um, would have been good. Looking at last year's card, I mean, I think the difference is that like you had a Azumi Hikari Shimizu, where it's like that wasn't a great match, but it was a match that felt like something. It had substance to it. Um, and same with Kairi and Utami. Again, that was a good match. It didn't really do like it was just a special singles match, but made it feel like this card was like a it had facets to it. It had multiple
Mhm.
angles to it. I think this card is just another Stardom pay per view, um, and I think that's the difference, right? I think another Stardom pay per view can be great. I think last year it was a big show. It was built as a big show, and like the card itself it had the signs and the things that qualify as a big show, and it felt like a big show, but a lot of the matches fell flat. Whereas this year, hopefully it all goes well. Hopefully it's a good card, but it doesn't feel like a card to care about necessarily.
Yeah, and a part of that is obviously them having to like stretch things to January 4th. The Mayu turn match is a preview tag for another show,
Yeah,
which you almost you look at Sumo Hall and you're like, you're running a preview tag on in this venue.
yeah.
Uh, so
It
it's
is
definitely it's kind of
so
weird.
interesting looking at the 24th through the 6th, where you have you have 3 pay per views, 2 Corkins, and a New Blood.
Hmm?
And like,
Weird company, really.
yeah, like ultimately, if they were gonna do that, I probably would have done like one less title match here and just done like something cool. You know what I mean? Uh, because it feels like they're somehow giving a like a lot away, but also not enough. Because like I don't know, it's a weird predicament to be in these next few weeks for Stardom. Obviously, we're just kind of
Very.
riffing at this point, but I am interested in next. Again, that's a lot of like that's a lot of space to fill that I don't think they're filling optimally. Um, because like somehow they are both too heavy on one show and not heavy enough on the same show. But you know,
Yeah, like they're gonna have to spark something on this Sumo Hall show that
who jumps
keeps the
Mirai and gets a
interest.
title match a week later?
Yeah, like they're gonna have to do something like that to where the interest carries over, especially without a triangle derby. And I know people had their issues with the triangle derby. The final was great. And the
Mhm.
opening day was cool.
And I
I
think
didn't mind it.
it gave it gave motherfuckers either like, oh yeah, you can care because like these matches matter, or you
Mm.
cannot care because you're one of three people. Just have the other two do a little bit more work. Easy.
Yeah,
Like that's
and I
very
mean,
easy.
like the colors crew showed out. It was like we got
Yeah.
to see really cool wrestlers
Colors was really good.
do
God's Eye
stuff.
was really good.
Yeah.
Prominence was really good. And then there were other groups that, you know, like Koguma kind of took the time off unless it was a
Mm.
match that she decided to care about, which is fine. That's you know what I mean? Like Mayu got like a month or two to kind of lean on two younger wrestlers and not really have to focus on anything else. I am really upset that Triangle Derby is going away because I think that it was like for what it was, I thought it was like a fun tournament that you know
It certainly gets a weird
occupied
like
time.
certainly is a lot more hated than I thought it would be. It's not to blame for all of the issues, and when you look at how things are now, I feel like most people would rather have a derby to look forward to than be sat here going, okay, what are we doing January?
Yeah,
Because they're
and as
running
somebody who
Yokohama Budokan on the third.
yes,
Nothing, like
yes,
nothing at all.
and as somebody who likes who cares about the artist belts, I'm one of the last people to do. But I think that there's so much there for it, as we saw with the Hanan match last year with Stars versus Oedo Tai. Like there's so much there that you could do with trios. Like I don't see what the issue with the Triangle Derby was. I think it's that everybody's injured and our relationships aren't as strong as they were a year ago. So it's not like we can ask as many wrestlers to devote as many
Well,
dates
to be honest, you
to
could probably
doing
fill it
this.
though. I mean, ask Wave and get
Yeah,
people from Wave. Evo girls, they can send people. Who else does Beyond New Blood? That might be it. Is it just Evo girls and Wave that they work with now?
I mean, this past
Suppose
month they would do JTO.
JTO. The JTO one has kind of slowed down, hasn't it? When was the last
Yes,
time the Inabas were here? Was it when Azusa lost to Rina?
I believe so.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Aoi hasn't been here in a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
I don't know
Glade
about JTO.
partnership.
It's
Get
never a
Maya
partnership, but that
get
was
Maya. Oh yeah, they just wanted to bury Glade. Get Maya Fukuda in an actual wrestling match in a
oh,
wrestling
God
tournament.
bless. Imagine.
You will wrestle. God damn it!
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you could definitely make up a derby with partnerships and stuff like that.
You could also
So
do a one block tournament, which I know Stardom kind of shies away from, but like New Japan proved that it's like, oh, Super Junior Tag doesn't have to be 16 teams with, 10 of them being bad. Just have like 10 good teams. It's easy. There wasn't actually 10 good teams in that tournament, obviously, but you get what I'm trying to say.
but yeah, I think we should take
we
it
could
home
we could call
because
it a day, yeah.
yeah, I was holding back yawns there for a second. Um, so yeah, we'll be back next week to talk about the one show that's happening this weekend, assuming it goes up. We will also then be looking forward to the stuff the following week, like the Cork and the New Blood. I guess the Saitama Gymnasium show. If you are out there and desperate to know what we think about the Saitama Gymnasium show, you got to tune in next week. And then the week after is obviously the big one with Stardom Dream Queendom. So yeah, stick around. We got some big stuff coming, obviously, with Stardom. I'm excited. I don't know about you, but hey, we're along for the ride either way. So
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what the fuck goes on. Hopefully,
that's it.
since Mansoor is back wrestling, he gets his dream match against Miya Shirakawa.
Maybe we should keep him away from Mina Shirakawa. Yeah, with that, it's time to close the show. If you want to stand, you may stand. If you want to sit, you may sit. Believe today, shine tomorrow. You decide what you believe in. Ijo.
Joe.